Hello and welcome back to another episode of Triton Nation Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Gonzalez, Director of Athletics and Student Life at Pacific Christian High School. This episode is presented to you by the Pacific Athletic Network. We're thankful again for Chilsea Financial Studio, partnering with them. Our producer, Mark, our SID, Mariah, putting all this together. Today on this show, we have Jeff Berokoff.
Yo.
Ron Samson.
Morning.
The boys, the athletic department. Not just there's more to our athletic department than just these guys, but as part of our executive administrative team, we thought this episode would be fun. We're getting a lot of questions right now. The questions about, hey, what's going on with high school sports in the sense of things are returning? Are there postseasons? What are fans? Are they allowed in gyms? What are testing policies? There's just been a lot for our listeners and our viewers who maybe haven't followed as closely as we have, just how fast this landscape has changed in the last month from having nothing to now, I go to a soccer game and this is packed, right? So part of this episode is just the three of us up here talking a little bit, answering some questions we had on our social media this week, throughout the week, a place for you guys, our listeners, our viewers to ask questions and get thoughts from us. So the three of us are here to answer them and talk a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about maybe some of our gym sports. I'm going to hit up Jeff, who is, for those of you that don't know, is our Assistant AD of Internal Operations. So he's in charge of kind of running the day-to-day, specifically with gym sports, and he's our head boys basketball coach. Jeff, what's going on in the high school world for sports right now, specifically with basketball? What do you know?
People are hooping.
They're hooping.
Boys and girls are getting in the gym, and little by little, spectators are funneling in, and from 25% capacity to looks like now 50% capacity, and people are live streaming games, and kids are happy, parents are happy. We're just going through March Madness in the college world, so hoops is pumping right now, and for California, that's a really big thing because we were the last state to play high school boys basketball and girls basketball, and we just started here recently in the last couple of weeks. So there's a lot of great things going on in the basketball world right now. UCLA's in the Final Four.
Check that out.
A lot of Gonzaga, which is West Coast, a lot of SoCal kids on these teams really represent how incredible West Coast basketball, especially California, is.
Yeah. What's the vibe with maybe you're a member of, I'm gonna butcher it, Skipka, which is the kind of Southern California high school basketball coach association. What's the vibe within that? What are other schools doing? I mean, you have a vast network of high school coaches. What are they experiencing with their own programs, with pushback from administration? I know Pacifica, we've been pretty open with getting our kids after it. Testing's a big issue. What's the landscape with high school basketball, kind of boys and girls? Since
good question. I won't speak for Skip because we haven't really heard anything from them lately. But as far as our coaches network, every high school is different. Public, private, what county you're in, what's the vision of the school, how closely are you following the rules and regulations. Some schools have played 50 to 60 games before the actual season has started in Arizona and all these other places, and some haven't even been able to get inside of their gym. Some schools have been practicing without playing games, and some schools are just going 6 days a week, 7 days a week with AAU teams and all these sorts of things going on. So everybody has had a different experience and journey. The great thing is now all high schools are back to playing. So we have some high schools, public schools, let's say a public school that they've had 2 weeks of practice and they haven't practiced for 6 months, and now they're playing official games. And they may be lining up.
Crazy.
They may be lining up against a team who's been to Arizona 5 times, who's played 32 games wherever it may be, and they're facing off to each other, which is such a crazy dynamic. Which that's why this year, when it's all said and done, it should be a fun year. Yeah. Wins and losses and records should be thrown out the window. The kids are playing. The boys and girls are playing. It's not a fair playing field this year as far as you have some L.A. County schools who, I have some very, close friends out there, very good programs, have been playing outside for 4 weeks. And they're not using a club name and playing in Arizona or, somewhere else. So they're literally now a top 20 school in California, and they're showing up and now they're playing after 2 weeks of trying to put their stuff in, or they're in the outdoor courts.
I was going to say, have they been all outdoors this whole time?
Yeah. So it's crazy. Everybody's experience is different. That's why at the end of this year, this season for indoor sports, it should be, look, a success because our kids got to be in there.
Yeah.
Our coaches got to be able to mentor our youth, and these kids are now active. They're happy. They're connected, and that's what it's all about. So I know myself and my staff, as far as the boys basketball team, we are fired up that we're back playing. We're around the guys, and for us, that means it's a successful year.
Yeah. And for some of our people that are watching and listening, a big part of us being able to get back to this, and we've had a ton of pushback, and I know a lot of people have asked questions and why, and I'll let Ron jump in on this one. But the key to all this has been the testing. Has been the according to the CDPH and CIF following their guidelines, for indoor sports to return, they had to follow the college guidelines that were set, and we had. We had Mike Daniels, who's the GSAT commissioner, on here, and we've talked a little bit, beyond the show, kind of what they're doing as far as testing. Pacifica now is testing twice a week. Ron, do we see testing coming to an end? One, in your profession for all these sports, and how valuable is testing with so many false positives and so many false negatives? Like, what parents are like, do we really have to do this? Like, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, first, with the end in sight, I don't necessarily have an end date for you. I haven't heard of anything as far as a stop date for testing for the indoor sports. I believe if we ever get to the yellow tier, that may go away. It might be a little bit of a long shot. We're working on it. The numbers are increasing every day.
Increasing, like going down.
I'm sorry, excuse me, yes.
Yeah, be careful. We're not starting a new pandemic.
No. My fault. Haven't had my coffee this morning.
Yeah, but for those that are listening, sorry to cut you off, the yellow, the most lenient tier. So right now, for those of you that may not know, in orange tier, which we're officially in this week, it's 3 or less per 100,000 cases in a county in order to open up to that tier. So I think we're either at 3 or it might be 4 and less. We're at 3.3. But the next tier, which would allow indoor sports to return without restrictions, according to what we know, has to be less than 1 person per 100,000. So do the math on that. If you're listening, if you're watching, that's a pretty incredible number to try to reach. I mean, that's like people can't be sick, essentially.
Right. Right. As far as value in the testing, I think there is. There are a lot of people that are very concerned about COVID still, even with the vaccinations rolling out and the numbers are decreasing. A lot more people taking precautions. But there are I'm coming across a large number of people that are still concerned about it, and I know that testing our athletes and our coaches and the people that are in the gym, and when we get those negative tests back, it puts their mind at ease and they're more amenable to allowing their students to participate.
Yeah.
We're trying to do everything we can to allow the kids to participate. Yeah. And there are families out there that need to see those negative tests and need to have that reassurance that we're doing everything that we can do to allow all of our athletes, student athletes, and fans eventually when they come in to participate safely.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yes, there is a lot of value in the testing.
A peace of mind.
Peace of mind, for sure. Our testing, we've been doing it now, 3 weeks, I think?
4 weeks,
3 or 4 weeks. All the results have come back great. There's been no positive tests, which is great. Our community is doing a fantastic job of...
Well done, Trent Nation.
That's right. Thank you to all the families out there for doing your part.
And those of you that may not know, or this is your first time listening, Ron is our assistant AD of sports medicine and campus health. So his main job this school year at Pacifica has been being kind of the leadership of our COVID team, making sure our athletes are getting back to play healthy, following state guidelines. So he is very knowledged in this. So him, just in case those may not know, Ron, what you do. But you spend long hours doing this for sure.
A lot of time behind the scenes on the COVID topic. But you know what? It's going. I hope it ends soon.
Yeah.
It would be nice not to have to go through the challenges of testing and making sure everybody's there with the paperwork and everything. But you know what? I'm all for doing it if that allows us to get the kids in the gym, allows everybody to participate, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I love seeing the kids in the gym or kids on the soccer field, whatever it may be. It's just great to see the kids out there and participating. So testing is what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
And I think it's fair to say, through, this may be a hot topic for some people. And it is what it is. It's a podcast and do what we want right here, right? But the reality is, from everything we've seen, Ron, from data and science, and NFHS has sent out a ton of stuff from their sports medicine advisory committee. Yes, we are going through the protocols of making sure these kids are testing, but kids aren't necessarily catching COVID by playing volleyball games in the gym on separate sides of the court, or basketball when it's a close. So I want to encourage our parents that the data does show, and it's out there, and we can put some links up later on our YouTube channels and whatnot. But we not only are just testing for the sake of testing. We're doing it because we do believe that we can run our programs, our indoor sports, in a safe manner. We've been doing it, and we're 4 weeks now clear of no positive test. And Pacifica's only had 7 cases all year, right? And a lot of those weren't transmitted. I think all of them weren't even transmitted through school.
Oh yeah, I've tracked all of them.
Yeah.
I can for sure 100% tell you that there has been no contraction of COVID or transmission of COVID on campus.
Yeah.
In the classroom, in any of our athletics.
Yeah.
So I can document that. I keep track of all of it.
Yeah, no, and it's encouraging, and I appreciate all your work there. I know our community is thankful for that. The early mornings setting up all those tests, it's a lot. What do you guys, some other questions maybe we've gotten, and I know we have, and then we'll jump into some of our other ones. But is there a postseason? Jeff, in your circles, Ron, you may be a little bit more removed because you're more on the sports medicine side. But Jeff, do you think there'll be a postseason for indoor sports? Because it's different for outdoor sports.
Yeah. CIF is supposed to make the announcement by April 13th.
Okay.
Of the season 2, I guess, which would be the indoor sports right now, the volleyball, boys volleyball, basketballs. So we'll find out by April 13th.
Yeah. I know on the soccer front, I sit on our Southern California Coaches Association advisory committee. It does look like we will have a postseason for our outdoor sports. Season 2 sports, football, unfortunately, they're just kind of playing for the sake of playing. But I know our boys and girls soccer, lacrosse, they're looking like they will have postseason play. They're submitting all the league requirements, I think, today to CIF for outdoor sports, so what leagues are coming to fruition. Now, how they actually map that out, Jeff, we've heard, Ron, we've heard all kinds of stories.
Mm-hmm.
Some, if you just have a team and roll out and play, they might make you in the postseason because they need to fill spots. So that's an interesting thought. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we were thinking about that too. It could have been fun just to extend the season like 3 weeks to give everybody more games and not have playoffs. But then a lot of people want playoffs. Yeah. I just like seeing all the kids play. Yeah.
Getting kids playing is by far, and for parents too, you guys. The season is not. It's not a normal season. So obviously we know we're in COVID, but I have had a few people ask when do these seasons end? The season 2, which is going on right now, it's going into May. Even some sports, I know playoff for boys basketball is early June. So keep that in mind as you guys start planning your end of the years and your trips. I know spring break is typically not a time where all these sports are taking place, and a lot of our coaches have worked with you parents. But this doesn't just end here in a couple weeks. These seasons are going to be running for at least another 2 months, potentially with postseason runs and moving into June, where maybe sometimes we're not thinking we're playing hopefully a basketball final in June, right? So, Ron, I want to talk with you a little bit. What are some, parents have asked throughout the year, and even some other ADs, Ron had, for our listeners, put together a great, so Pacifica, which I'm proud of my team, and I'm going to brag about these guys. They've worked tirelessly since last summer. Pacifica has been, in my opinion, from a school standpoint, but specifically at athletics, kind of tip of the spear in the sense of we were putting kids and pushing that line and making sure and seeing the value that athletics has in the life of a young person. And if Ron Samson did a Triton Talk, go to our Instagram and check it out. He hit it on the head that the social, the emotional, the spiritual, the mental aspect of these kids is just as important as anything else. And I said this a couple weeks ago on one of our shows. Never in the history of time has athletics been stripped away from our kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, to the point where basketball rims were being taken down from public parks, to the point where hoops were being wrapped up and soccer goals were being chained and you'd get kicked off a field for running. So we at Pacifica has seen the value that it takes, and our team has done an incredible job. But Ron, you put together, long story short, you worked hard and put together a return to play policy for COVID specifically, and kind of gym policies on what we're doing when we're hosting volleyball games, how those are different, hosting basketball games, how those are different. Talk to some of, talk a little bit about that, because people are curious. Other schools have reached out and taken our policy because it was written so well. What are some things we're doing differently that we've been doing this entire time that we'll continue to do for as long as we have to, that has helped us find so much success with COVID cases and all that stuff?
I think we took our protocols are taken from the NFHS guidelines. CDPH is in there, CDC, a little bit of common sense, I think.
Well, if only the world had more of that, right?
Right, and I know that can be subjective to different people. What you and I, what the three of us think is common sense, may be different than who may be listening.
Or the three amigos of some people, right?
That's right. So taking all the guidelines into consideration and coming up with a game plan that would allow us the most success and would allow us the best opportunity to get our kids active without really breaking any rules. Does that make sense? So looking, NFHS was a big one. And I know California is a little bit more strict when it comes to those things. Not that I was disregarding what California guidelines are, but I was mainly going off of what the science was telling us, right? And putting those things together and mixing that with common sense. And what you just said a while ago, there's really no science out there that shows that kids playing basketball, volleyball in a gym are getting COVID or transmitting COVID to other people, other athletes. So I took all that into consideration when coming up with the guidelines, and that has allowed us to allow our athletes back in the gym sooner. I think we did that sooner than most schools in California. It was done safely. Every way we have a screening process in place. And again, I think it's been successful because we've had no transmission of or contraction of COVID with any of our athletic teams. That answer your question?
Yeah, and I think to and Jeff can speak into this because he does most of breakup and setup at schools. But Jeff, for like a volleyball game, what are some of the things we're doing differently? I know teams don't change sides, like things like that. Speak into that a little bit.
Yeah, teams stay on the same side. Their benches are 3 to 6. Their chairs are 3 to 6 feet apart. Standard stuff is all the high school community is seeing. You don't shake hands before the game for the volleyball. You do the thumbs up or whatever, the air five, whatever it may be. And then the officials coming in have been great. Our officials for volleyball and basketball have been great, and they try to stay socially distanced. And I think everybody has seen that, like, we just do our part. The kids get to find the reward, right? And I mean, we've been really, really lucky and good at the same time to have, Ron kind of leading the way on that and giving us all that game plan to follow, and we followed it, and we've been successful. So it's been great.
Yeah. And Mariah has done a great job with our spectator side of things, pushing everything we have to social and live stream. I think that has been a huge blessing for our school and for our community. I know parents are just dying to get back in the gym, and we'll talk more about that in a sec. But I think our live streaming has been top notch. I think, Jeff, you've been a commentator a few of our matches there.
Absolutely.
I think we had our highest views, with you running those games as a commentator there.
Oh, the chick hern. But what separates our live stream is that you can see the actual score of the volleyball match. It's down there. We have live commentators. And Mariah's, I mean, gosh, I've seen, and you guys have too, a handful of other live streams.
Yeah.
I think she's put together the number one live stream in Southern California high school sports.
Yeah.
I really believe it. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on our YouTube and give us your thoughts on that. I think it's done really, really well.
Yeah, give us a subscribe, give us a like. It makes her day. She works tirelessly, families, parents. Even if you just want to watch a good basketball game, we got commercials, we got everything on that thing. And if you want to get more involved, you can shoot us an email. Go to our athletic website. You can find more about that there. So sticking on the topic of live streaming, it has been great. It's been fantastic. But one of the questions we got this week is, when will fans be allowed back in? That is the $1 million question. You guys want to answer that one, or would you want?
You go ahead, big dog.
You go ahead. I think we're ready for it.
Yeah, so I think we're ready. Unfortunately, we're never going to let fans in the rest of the year, so you just have to deal with that one. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody's looking at me like freaking out. I am excited though to announce, after much talk and time, and I do want to share with our community kind of why we have been the forefront in so many areas, but in the fans one, I think we have been a little bit on the tail end of it. Our families know, we all know, we can go to another school's gym and they'll let you in and they'll have spectators. And there are some schools that are still very strict. Tennis just played a match where no fans were allowed and it was outdoors, and it is what it is. Every school's gonna do what's best for their community. But I definitely want our community to know we have not been not letting fans in purely because we don't want them there. We see the value in our community being present, the energy it brings. I mean, Jeff, you're 10 points better with fans in the gym.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The culture building, all that we see, and it matters. But it's important our community understands, a big reason for us of not letting fans in right away is my team is working tirelessly to make these things happen. Most of us are coaching. Most of us are also involved with COVID leadership teams. We're involved with student life. So the idea of, okay, just because we can doesn't necessarily mean we should. We needed to get, in my opinion, as kind of taking the brunt of it, I wanted my team to get our feet wet in getting testing sorted out, getting our kids back in the gym, getting our coaches on board with this idea of playing. And now we're a small school, but we have, 10 programs going on right now? I mean, we are all over the place with JV golf and tennis and track and field and soccer and you name it, tennis. But so our community, I want you guys to know it was a methodical decision for me to give myself and my team the ability to catch our breath, the ability to move into this new season of letting people into our games, letting people come and support their children, their kids, in a way that we felt we could do it the right way. So with that, with knowing there was a reason, I'm excited to announce that we will be allowing fans back into our gym for the very first time on April 17th. We have a triple header that day. Girls basketball plays Estancia at 12 o'clock on a Saturday, followed by boys JV volleyball and boys varsity basketball against Sage Hill. So that is going to be the opener to our fans coming into the season. We hope you guys are excited. We're excited to finally get to that point. There is going to be kind of a registration process. We are going to send out more information later about how many parents can come and whatnot, but I promise you it'll be a great time. All parents will be able to come watch their children play. All siblings will be able to come, and more importantly, our students will be able to get a little bit of normalcy back. So that was a big question. That was one that I wanted to make clear. So are you guys ready?
Ready.
Absolutely.
Are we ready for this?
Let's go.
All right,
Yep.
Are you ready? Yeah. It's gonna be. She's yelling from the back. Yes, and our live stream will continue. Just because we have fans does not mean our live stream will not happen. She's done a great job with that. We are going to continue to live stream for as long as we can, indefinitely. That is something we will be continuing to do through that. Some thoughts for you guys. A question we have on our podcast. We talked a little bit. One of the questions was, will championships happen this year? We talked a little bit about postseason, how it's different sport to sport. This one may be a little bit broader, but it is a good question. How, in your guys' opinions, and from what we've seen, how has Pacifica come out a step ahead of this through the pandemic? What have we done? The specific question is, how has Pacifica adapted to the pandemic, and how are we coming out of it? And what are our goals moving forward into next season? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'll take a shot at that one first.
Yeah.
So how have we come out ahead? I think you kind of touched on it earlier when you mentioned the protocols that we've come up with to allow our students to participate in athletics and be active. Other schools have borrowed those policies and procedures. Mm-hmm. So that tells me that what we're doing is very, very good. Mm-hmm. If other schools want to copy what we're doing something right.
Yeah.
Right. And other schools see the success that we're having in that area. So I think we've come out ahead in that area. I think also, with that being said, our success record shows that we're able to allow these kids to participate, and there really hasn't been any. There's been no COVID. There's
Mm-hmm.
been nobody getting sick. No transmission.
Knock on wood, everybody.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
that. So, and not to say that it couldn't happen. I mean, I'm not naive to that, but I think what we've been doing has been very solid. Mm-hmm. I think that we're going to take that into next year, whatever next year brings as far as COVID-related issues. I think we're going to be very well prepared for it. And I think it's also going to show us that we can be active and we can operate as normally as possible within whatever guidelines are given to us.
Yeah.
Right? Because, again, we've been going as much as we can for all school year. Salute.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
I think we've come out ahead in that area. I think we're kind of pioneering
Yeah.
some of the...
That's a good word, pioneering.
Thank
Tip
you.
of the spear wasn't the right one. Pioneering
Right.
is better.
Pioneering some of the trends and how we're going to operate within the COVID world, because obviously it's not going to go away anytime soon, I don't think. But yeah, Coach, what do you think?
You said that very well, Ron. Everything that I wanted to say, you said. I do want to add, though, I think we're connected. Our community's connected, and I think we've given great data, and we have results now that we've done it safe, we've done it right, and we've done it all for one reason. That was for our student athletes.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And community buy-in's been huge.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't think we would have been as successful as we've been if the community wasn't behind what we were doing.
Yeah.
And we've all said you can't make everybody happy in every certain situation, but overall there has been such great community support that allows us to do this, and it makes me feel good to know that what we're doing is positive for the kids and for the community, and it's very encouraging to keep going.
Yeah,
right. Because it would be a drag if we were just getting negative pushback on everything.
100%.
So just thank you everybody out there who may be listening and or watching. Just the positive feedback has been wonderful, and it's very encouraging for us, for me especially.
Yeah, no, I concur. Like you guys, our Triton Nation has been incredible. I mean, even in our darkest hours, I feel like our school rallied. Our school came together from our administration, our board, our teachers, everyone did their part to help continue to move Pacifica in the right way. And my thoughts on, how do we come out of this, going into this pandemic, the things that I wanted to focus on was, Pacifica being such a small school, our freshmen coming in are not getting a true high school experience, at least the Pacifica way. Things like the all-school retreat, Dig Pink, you name it, culturally, socially, physically, all of it. My hope and my goal was to do everything we could to give these kids as much normalcy as possible. And doing that, to Ron's point, in a manner that was safe, that we can control, that was helping these kids stay connected. So my goal through pandemic, from an internal standpoint, was that. If we can't play games, well, we're going to be practicing. And if we can't practice, then we're going to do team parties. If we can't do team parties, we're going to go to the beach and sit outside and watch the sunset. Like, we're going to continue. And our coaches have been great. There was a point where I told our coaches, hey, you're not allowed to practice, but you need to go figure out a team activity on the beach. School will cover it. If it's a bonfire, if you're allowed to be outdoor, let's continue to find ways to keep our kids connected. And the three of us, I remember, we sat in a room with a big whiteboard, and we sat there, and it was three of us, and we did pros and cons lists. What's the value? What are we trying to accomplish? And at the end of the day, I want our community to know, my team, these guys, Mariah, everyone there, our ultimate goal has always been your kids.
Yes.
And sports aside, it's been doing what we can to help them get involved and get connected and have somewhat of a normal high school experience. So that has been our ultimate goal. We use athletics. Our job is athletics is our tool to do that, and we did the best we could, and we've done a great job. So I think internally that was my goal, and I see us coming out light years ahead. I see other schools not being able to do that. And externally, more outward facing, I wanted us to build an infrastructure within our athletic department that showed the community and the world what we're doing, how we're doing it, and that when we come out of this, we come out looking even more professional than we went in. Which maybe is hard for some people to understand that, or even I know schools have either gone backwards or shut down, but I can honestly say I feel like with the help of you guys and Mariah and our community, I think we're coming out better than we went in.
Yeah.
From an external standpoint, our social media platforms are growing, our staff is growing, our connectivity with our coaches has been growing. I've had more time with our coaches through this pandemic, meeting one-on-one. You guys have with your team. I think it forced us to be more intentional with our kids and our community, and externally, I think we were going to come out ahead of that. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
No, totally.
But so we're coming up on 28 minutes. This was a time for us to share a little bit about what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for Mariah and our team. I guess the last maybe question and topic that we could touch on in 90 seconds or so would be what does the summer look like for high school athletes right now? Is, from what Jeff, you're hearing from Indoor World, Ron from a sports medicine side, are kids going to be taking a break, or are we going to go right into summer ball? Are we going to be transitioning? Are we expecting, basketball to have fall season right away? Is girls volleyball, which just ended, going to start in July? What are your guys' thoughts on that and what you're hearing?
I hope we go right away. I'd love to take my guys to a team camp and some tournaments and to build our culture, because we missed out on that. And I hope all the sports get that opportunity for kids to travel somewhere and to sleep in a dorm room and have cafeteria food and then go play eight volleyball games or 9 basketball games in a weekend. So fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah, I would imagine they're going to go right into things in the summer. The kids are going to want to. Families are going to want to. The kids, I think it's better for the kids. They've had so much time just sitting around not doing anything, and now to be allowed to do stuff, they're going to go into it, and which is good from a health aspect, just to keep them active, keep them going, and prepare them for potentially a regular fall season. One of the things that's always troubling or concerning coming off of a summer is you always see the kids that were inactive over the summer in a non-COVID year. Hopefully this, having sat so long, will encourage people just to stay active. If they've been active the last couple months, they're probably going to kind of want to stay active.
Yeah.
And I think that will benefit everybody in the fall when sports starts back up.
And I know for our listeners, Pacific Christian's intention is to roll into our summer programs. We're hoping to roll out some of our summer camps this summer for our different sports and our different programs. But yeah, girls, CIF with girls volleyball, their first match is set August 13th. So it means we'll start up here in July with tryouts and preseason and get 3-4 weeks in before that, and we're off and running. So parents, our goal is to continue moving forward. Our goal is to continue to keep things back to normal. There are a lot of exciting things going into next year. The girls sand volleyball is now officially a CIF sport, so we'll be rolling that out next year. We've already had boys and girls sand, but now that it is an official CIF sport, we're excited to kind of get that one launching off the ground, to continue to grow our programs. And it's important, too, people to understand we've grown over this time. During this pandemic, we've added girls tennis. We've added JV boys golf. Our girls golf program's on the verge of being 2 teams. We have multiple programs with lower levels. So our goal is to continue to grow that, continue to advance our students and give them the best experience possible. Our new building is set to open up, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
And some fun transitions there with our new campus and our old campus and upgrades that we're planning to do. So there's a lot moving. There's a lot. If you're a family that's listening who's curious about Pacifica, come check us out. Come reach out to one of us. We'd love to talk more about what we're doing at our school and our community. 30 seconds, last thing. Who's going to win this thing? March Madness. The Zags?
Yeah, they're just too
You
tough.
think the Zags? No one at UCLA, huh?
Shout out to ex-Triton, Dominic Harris.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dom. And we had what, 3 Pac-12 teams, 4 West Coast teams in the Elite 8?
Yeah.
Man,
West Coast.
there's some good ball
Repping
on the
it.
side of the country for sure. My bracket's blown. I had Michigan and Arkansas in the final. So, I mean, yeah, this far.
Well, I still have I have Baylor and the Zags meeting in the
Really?
championship game, so I'm still
You and me
alive
both,
there.
buddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, my bracket was destroyed.
Zags. I'm just going to go with UCLA because I'm a Bruins fan. Let's see. I just want them to beat the Zags. They don't win it. But
Okay.
it's time for UCLA to get some prominence back. But all right, guys. Hey, thanks for being here. We all have busy schedules. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you for all your support. Go on to our website, pacificathletics.org. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Check out, we have home basketball games this Thursday. Doubleheader, girls basketball, boys basketball. We also have a watch party coming out. Go ahead and sign up for that. Until next time. See you guys.
Go Triton.